Millions of people will get 2 Social Security checks in July. And technically, some people really will see 2 deposits land in July. So is it real? Well, here's where you slow down and ask the better question. Not will 2 checks arrive, but does 2 deposits mean extra money? Those are not the same question, and the gap between them is where the whole myth. So if you've been online this summer, you've seen them. Red thumbnails, all caps warning, 2 Social Security checks in July, or a payment change if you were born in the 40s through the 70s. Some of it's real. Most is fear-bait, and nobody tells you which. So here's a plan. In about 15 minutes, I take the 3 biggest Social Security headlines going around right now, and I'll sort each one for you, real or noise. One is the real rule that touches real money. The other 2 are an ordinary calendar dressed up as an emergency. And I'll not just hand you my verdicts, I'll give you the exact 3 questions tests I use. So the next scary clip in your feed, you can sort it yourself in about 30 seconds. No panic, just the government's own pages read out loud. So fast intro so you know who's telling you this. I'm Han Brown, and I made the Medicare brain and the AI brain. And this is a channel where AI, policy, and aging get told straight. No jargon, no fear. The thing I do all day is read the boring government documents so that you don't have to. So today, that is exactly the job. So let's start with the one that is real, because it matters, and because almost no video gets it exactly right. The real one is a bank check. You may have seen it's called the AFI rule, or Social Security is looking in your bank account. Well, let me decode that because the letters matter. AFI stand for Access to Financial Institutions. And here is the single most important word attached to it, SSI. SSI is Supplemental Security Income. It is not the retirement check you paid into your whole working life. SSI is a separate need-based program for people with very low income and very few assets, often older adults who are also disabled or blind. That difference is the whole story, so hold on to it. Now, what does the AFI check usually do? Well, I don't want to characterize it. I want to read you Social Security's own words. On the Social Security own page about reducing improper payments, they describe AFI as, quote, an automated process that verifies alleged bank account balances with financial institutions to identify potential access resources held by the SSI applicants, recipients, and demurs. So, put simply, when someone is on SSI or applying for it, Social Security can check their bank balances electronically to make sure they are still under the program savings limit. They even run what they call geographic searches to catch accounts a person did not report, up to 10 per review. So yes, this one is real. It is a real, active thing Social Security does. That is why it earns the real stamp. But now watch how the fear-bait version quietly gets it wrong, because this is the exact move you want to learn to catch. The scary version says Social Security is going through everyone's bank account. The true version is much narrower. It's an SSI tool. It is about a need-based program with a savings limit. If your income from Social Security retirement or disability you earn, the AFI check is not rifling through your account. And here's a number the check is actually enforcing. Let me show you, because it's a little bit outrageous on its own. straight from Social Security, the SSI resources page. Quote, the limit for countable resource is $2,000 for an individual and $3,000 for a couple. So $2,000 for a single person, that is a total countable savings you're allowed to have and still qualify for SSI. Cash, bank account, most investment, all of it, capped at $2,000. And here is a part that should bother you more than any thumbnail. That $2,000 limit has not moved since 1989. Not for inflation, not for anything. 37 years. Frozen. So if it had simply kept pace with inflation, independent analysts at the Center of Budget and Policy prioritized estimate, it would be more than double what it is today. So the honest way to hold this first headline is to hold the two true things at the same time. One, the AFI bank check is real. And if you or someone you care for is on SSI, staying under that limit genuinely matters. And two, it's not a new dragnet coming for your retirement check. It's an old rule about a specific program enforcing a limit that Congress has left frozen for generations. Both of those are true. The real story is narrower and, frankly, more useful than the scary one. So that's almost always the case. Okay, headline number 2. You might have heard this from an influencer online. Millions of people will get 2 Social Security checks in July. And technically, some people really will see 2 deposits land in July. So is it real? Well, here's where you slow down and ask the better question. Not will 2 checks arrive, but does 2 deposits mean extra money? Those are not the same question, and the gap between them is where the whole myth lives. So let me show you what is actually happening in the calendar. SSI, the same need-based program, is normally paid on the first of the month. But there is a rule. If the first lands on a weekend or a federal holiday, the payment moves up to the last business day before. So now look at the calendar for 2026. August 1st is a Saturday. So the August SSI payment cannot go on the August 1st. It gets paid early on Friday, July 31st, which means people on SSI see 2 deposits hit in July. Their normal July 1st payment and then their August payment arriving early on July 31st. But count it out with me. If August money arrives in July 31st, then in August itself, there is no SSI deposit. It already came. So it's not a bonus. It's not a 4th stimulus. It's the same 12 payments a year, and one of them just showed up a day early because of a weekend. And again, I don't want you to take my word for it. Social Security says this in plain language on their website. Quote, it does not mean that you are receiving a duplicate payment. You do not need to contact us to report a second payment. So the headline 2 gets the noise stamp, not because nothing happens, but because the thing that happens is a calendar quirk, and the headline dresses it up as found money. And notice, once again, it is really about SSI, not the retirement checks most people picture. That is 2 of the 2 on the same trick. Take something narrow and ordinary and make it sound big and universal. So, which brings us to the headline 3, and this is the emptiest one of all. If you were born in 1940s, 50s, 60s, or 1970s, your Social Security payment is changing this summer. Well, sit with that for a second. Born in 1940s through the 1970s? Well, that's essentially every retiree and every person near retirement alive today. When a rule change supposedly applies to everyone, that's your first clue that there is no rule change at all. And there isn't. Let me just let Social Security say that. On the Social Security's own schedule page, they say it in plain words, quote, "The date you get your benefits depend on your birthday." That is the whole schedule. It has not changed, and there is no special summer edition of it. So based on your birth date, that is the rule those videos are describing as if it were breaking news. Well, it has been the rule for decades. And here's the whole thing, and it's not complicated. If you were born on the 1st through the 10th of the month, your retirement check comes on the second Wednesday. Born on the 11th through the 20th, the third Wednesday. Born after the 20th, the fourth Wednesday. So in July 2026, those are the 8th, the 15th, and the 22nd. Same 3 Wednesdays as always. The only other dates on the calendar, the 2 SSI deposits we already talked about, on the 1st and on the 31st. Nothing on that calendar is new. The born in the 40s through the 70s clip took the oldest, most boring rule in the system, that your payday follows your birthday, and repackage it as a summer emergency. Lots of noise, but clear and simple. So let me take a breath here, because I don't want you to just remember my 3 verdicts. I want you to be able to do this without me. Here is the exact test I use on all 3, and it's only 3 questions. Question 1. Does it point to a primary source you can actually open? A real page on the SSA.gov, not sources say, not a screenshot of another video. If a claim about your money cannot survive being traced back to Social Security's own website, it does not get to scare you. Question 2. Which program is it actually about? Almost every scary Social Security headline is really about SSI, the need-based program, or it is written to make every retiree think it is about them. Separate the two, and half the fear evaporate. Question 3. Is it telling you to feel something right now, or is it explaining something? Real information helps you understand. Fear bait rushes you. Act now before it's too late. They don't want you to know. That urgency is not there to inform you. It is there to keep you watching. So run those 3 questions and watch what happens to today's headline. The AFI bank check points to a real SSA page, correctly about SSI, explained calmly. Real and worth knowing. It stays. 2 checks in July, real deposit, but it is a calendar quirk, not extra money. Gone. The secret July change for everyone born since the 40s? No source, no real rule, pure urgency. Gone. Seconds, using nothing but the government's own words. And that, honestly, is the whole skill. Not memorizing every rule, learning to tell a warning from a scare. Because here's the thing I most want you to walk away with. The people making those scary thumbnails are counting on something specific. They're counting on you feeling too overwhelmed to check. They're counting on the topic feeling so complicated that you just react. So you're not that person anymore. You just watched someone read the actual pages out loud, and you saw that the calm version was not only truer, it was simpler. It usually is. So the fear was never really about Social Security. It was about keeping you from looking, and now you know how to look. So here's one thing to do this week, and it takes a few minutes. Go to the SSA.gov, the real one, .gov, and bookmark it. That's your source of truth. The next time a video or forwarded text tells you your Social Security is about to change, you don't need to argue with it. You don't need to panic. You open your bookmark and you check. So if it's not on Social Security's own site, it's not a rule. It's just a thumbnail. And if a friend or a parent is the one who is scared, do not just tell them to be calm. Sit with them. open the page together and show them calm is contagious, not just fear. So that's the real defense here. Not a secret, just a habit of checking the source before you share the fear. I'm Han Brown, and this is The Han Brown Show. The newsletter is where I send Medicare Brain and Social Security Brain updates first, in the same calm, no panic source way. The link is in the description below. So thanks for spending time with me, and I'll see you in the next one.